hey, we're all human. And if there's a ton of money on the line, we tend to try a little bit harder. So let's talk about a few players that are in some contract years. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Welcome back. Another episode, new week, 1 week closer to football season. I mean, it's right around the corner. We're starting to see some OTA films and some mini camps, and all the preseason hype is already starting off, and fantasy football talk on Twitter is crazy. It's everywhere. I mean, you can't get away from it. It's that time of year, and it's amazing. Today we're going to be talking about a few players who are coming up on contract years. Now, some of these contracts may be, negotiated here through the season, and some of these names may not be there come week one, but, we're going to talk about it right now because these guys are looking to get paid. And, take into account this scenario right here. Say you walk into work, you've been at your job for about 4 years, and your buddy comes to you or somebody comes to you and says, hey, you try really hard this year, you could have a huge payday. I'm pretty sure we're going to give forth a little bit extra effort because we want that money. And these players are no different. A lot of these guys have a tendency to show out in their contract year so they can go out and sign their big deal and take it easy, some of them, for the next few years. Some of them use it as motivation. So we're going to get right into this list. Not going to keep you guys waiting. Let's talk about some players. First guy I want to talk about is going to be Le'Veon Bell. And I kind of just lied to you guys because I really don't want to talk about him, but we're going to talk about it again. It kind of seems like every year we're talking about the contract situation of Le'Veon Bell. It gets old after a while. The guy doesn't show up in the offseason, barely even shows up for the preseason, shows up week one, does what he kind of wants to. He's heavily used, therefore he puts up good numbers. It is what it is. But it's like every year we talk about the same thing with Le'Veon Bell. And I think the Steelers are to the point now where they're kind of fed up with it also. And I believe that's kind of why he doesn't have a long-term deal in place yet. He's got the talent. I mean, he's not the type of person you're like, we'll replace him. I mean, he's a good, talented running back, one of the best in the league. But he's racked up a ton of touches over the past few years. And the Steelers may put two and two together between the contract issues and the overusage, maybe, of a running back. Maybe they don't want to invest that highly in him. Over the past 5 years, he's had 1,541 touches of the football, and he's missed 18 games. That's like 25 touches a game. That's a lot of wear and tear on somebody, and after a while, it's going to take its toll. They may not want to sign him to that long-term deal, but he's going to go out there and play for it. He's not my top running back this year, but Le'Veon Bell could go out and have a huge year this year just to prove a point to make that money. Next up is going to be Mark Ingram on my list, also in a contract year this year. And Mark Ingram's a little tricky to kind of figure out. I mean, he's by no means one of the best running backs in football. Had a great year last year. Had a great year the past couple years. But he's not one of the top running backs in all of the game. And the emergence of Alvin Kamara last year hurts his value. And I think he realizes that he's no longer the guy. He'll be splitting with another guy almost 50-50 throughout the season. But, and hear me out, there's that chance, right? There's that chance that the Saints compete for a Super Bowl this year. And if they do and Drew Brees stays, I wouldn't put it past Mark Ingram to stay also. Maybe get some type of a deal where they could work it out, keep them both, and just keep what they have going. Defenses can't really scheme against New Orleans right now. They can beat you with the run, they can beat you with the pass, and they have a solid defense. Now, I don't see him leaving unless he gets offered some enormous amount of money. But he is coming back week 5 after his 4-game suspension. And I expect them to ride Ingram heavily just to kind of give Kamara a little bit of a rest. They don't want him burning out there towards the end of the year. If Mark Ingram can come out, put up big numbers in those 12 games that he plays this year, there's going to be teams offering all kinds of money for Mark Ingram. And if that's the case, he's more than likely gone out of New Orleans. Until we see what he does this year, though, I'm kind of trying to buy Mark Ingram. For the price you can get him on draft day with the expected upside there the second half of the year, I'm grabbing Mark Ingram this year if I can. All right, next on my list is going to be Ajayi of the Philadelphia Eagles. And am I totally jumped on the J train this year? No, not totally. Kind of a little bit. Only because his ADP isn't what it used to be. You used to have to take him in the end of the first, beginning of the second, just to get yourself a solid running back. He's not that anymore. He's fallen way down the ADP ranks, and now he's got a lot more value, in my opinion. LeGarrette Blount's no longer in town, so he doesn't have to compete with him every week for touches. Does that mean Ajayi comes out and gets 20 touches a week? Probably not. But Philly has a great defense, a great offense. I can see them having a lot of second half leads this year and having to run the ball just to run the clock. Win the games there at the end of the fourth quarter. Ajayi is going to be that guy. He's going to get somewhere in the range of 15 to 18 touches a game, but he's done it before. He's got that 1,000-yard, 8 to 10 touchdown range potential. And at the price that you're paying for him on draft day, that's probably your RB3. That's pretty good value. Ajayi is definitely somebody I'm going to be targeting on draft day just for value alone. Let's talk about C.J. Anderson now a little bit here in Carolina. And I've mentioned him in a couple videos here recently. And I'm kind of sneaky high on C.J. Anderson because of the price you can get him at also. Kind of like Ajayi. Same type of area, I believe, by the time the season kicks around. C.J. Anderson's going to start moving up those draft boards a little bit. But he's always been somebody that's been slept on, right? It's always been like, oh, he was undrafted. Okay, he had a great game in Denver. He's okay. I mean, he's above average. I mean, he's no, horrible running back. He's not Trent Richardson. Okay, he's not Eddie Lacy. The dude has talent, and he's going to get an opportunity here in Carolina. He's averaged over 4 yards per carry in his career. Yes, the Carolina offensive line is not as great or as good as it was even last year, but it's still something that's going to be heavily used. They have a lot of, quick targets there on the outside with McCaffrey and DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. They're going to rely on C.J. Anderson, at least for 200 carries this season. And if he can get those 200 carries with around that 4 yard per carry average, you're looking at somebody with about 800 yards and 6 to 8 touchdowns this season that you're getting in the later rounds, probably as your running back 3 or maybe even 4. That's great value. He's only got a 1-year deal. He's got almost $1 million in incentives on his contract. That should help him be motivated all year long. And he's already playing for a deal. He has no deal next year. He needs something. He's going to come out and do his best to make that money. I like C.J. Anderson. Let's talk about Randall Cobb next. I think he's got a great opportunity this year. I mean, Jordy Nelson's not there anymore. That was Aaron Rodgers' favorite target when healthy. And Cobb kind of fell by the wayside. I mean, Cobb has produced when Nelson was out before with Aaron Rodgers and before Devontae Adams took off. Randall Cobb was the man in Green Bay there for a few years, and I can see it kind of returning to that. I mean, he's got Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. That's going to inflate his numbers anyway because he'll be somebody that he targets, being that as of right now, Green Bay doesn't have a solid number 2 receiver. He's 28 years old, and this may be one of his last shots at the position to get a big contract, right? I mean, he's only getting older. There's not a whole lot of teams out there paying huge money for aging veterans, and I hate to call 28 aging, but if you think about it, he goes out now and gets a 4-year deal. He's 32 by the end of it. He's on the bottom half of his career. He needs to go out this year and produce big if he wants to, A, stay in Green Bay, and B, find himself a fat paycheck. I like Randall Cobb a lot, especially with the value you can get him here in the later rounds. Next on my list is going to be Golden Tate in Detroit. Tate is somebody who is slept on every single year. I don't care if he has a good year, a bad, whatever it is. Golden Tate kind of just gets forgotten about. And I don't understand why. I mean, the dude has put up, 90-plus catches for 4 straight years. I know he doesn't have that super sexy name. He's not going to go out and get you 100 yards every week. He's not going to go out there and get 1,800 yards like the Antonio Browns. No, I get it, but the dude is consistent. He's in a great offense, tailored to throw the ball, and he's getting a little older. I mean, I hate to keep saying this, like 30 is old, but the dude is going to be 30 at the start of the season, and this may be the last big contract that he's offered. Like I said, he's already in that favorable offense with Matthew Stafford throwing him the ball, and they have chemistry together. And I can see Golden Tate leaving, especially if Detroit isn't successful this year. If they're not, and Tate puts up big numbers, he's going to be in for a huge payday come next year, and some contender is going to want him. Golden Tate is definitely somebody you guys should be targeting. Right there is your wide receiver 2 to 3 range in all of your drafts. The dude's going to have a great year. Next on my list is going to be Odell Beckham. And if you've watched my previous episodes, you know he's my number 1 rated preseason wide receiver right now. The dude doesn't need any more reasons to go out and have a great year. But it's a contract year. He wants to get paid. He wants to be the highest paid player in the NFL. And it's possible that he may be. I am definitely 100%. If the top 4 running backs are off the board, I'm going Odell Beckham. Next up is going to be Brandin Cooks, now of the Los Angeles Rams. And did you know he was only 24 years old? I mean, he's crazy young still, and he's got plenty left in the tank. Not a real injury-prone type of guy for his smaller frame, but he's kind of hard to figure out in a way, right? I mean, he had big games every once in a while in New Orleans, decent game every once in a while in New England, shipped him over to LA, another high-powered offense, and he's got potential. I mean, you're seeing all these reviews here in the preseason where they're loving some Brandin Cooks out there in LA. Now, are they going to use him like they did Sammy Watkins, which is like never? We really don't know. It's kind of unknown, but they do like him. He is the deep threat on that team. He's got the big play potential. Is he going to go out and kill it in PPR leagues? No, probably not. But he is playing for a contract in a high-powered offense that's going to put up a lot of points. He may go out there and have a few big weeks, and he has that little extra added motivation. He doesn't want to be bouncing around the league every year. I can see him putting up big numbers just trying to stay in LA. Next on my list is going to be Stefon Diggs in Minnesota. Diggs, another one of these young guys. I mean, he's just, coming off of his rookie contract here, but he's kind of struggled with his health in his career. He hasn't yet played a full season, but he's crazy talented, and we all saw it at times last year, especially there in the playoffs with the phantom tackle against this, I don't know what you want to call it, but he capitalized off it. He did what he was supposed to do. He's greatly talented, highly talented, whatever you want to call it. He's got a lot of talent, okay? And he's got the ball thrown to him by Kirk Cousins. I mean, I'd like to say it's a big upgrade over Case Keenum, but Case Keenum played great last year. But Kirk Cousins has that extra added, upside that Case Keenum doesn't have. Now, whether Cousins locks in on Thielen or he locks in on Diggs, it's yet to be seen. But Diggs being in a contract year, needing to go out there and put up some numbers, I'm looking for Diggs to have a huge year because right now he's currently being outshined a little bit by Adam Thielen. And if he wants to put up a big paycheck next year, that's got to turn around. All right, last guy on my list is going to be Delanie Walker. And you guys are all saying, Delanie Walker made this? Yeah, and here's why. It's a tight end position. There's not very many good tight ends in football right now that are putting up huge fantasy numbers. This is like the thinnest position of all thin positions, if that makes sense. And he's getting older. I mean, he's 34 at the start of this season. He's not young anymore, but it is a contract year, and he's one of the top targets in a Tennessee offense. He's always been, he hasn't always been consistent, but he's been consistent in Tennessee the last 4 years with over 800 yards a year. And like I said, the position is so thin. If he can go out there this year in a contract year, put up big numbers, 800-plus yards and right around 5 to 8 touchdowns, there's going to be a contending team somewhere in football that offers a pretty good paycheck for a solid tight end next year. I'm looking for Delanie Walker to come out, put forth a little bit extra effort to get that final contract of his career. So those are a few guys. They're in contract years. They want to get paid. We all want to get paid, right? We're all looking for that big payday. These guys are no different. I can see them putting forth a little extra effort this year, trying to pad those stats at times, or maybe they didn't in the past, just to go out and make that money. These are definitely guys I won't be targeting on draft day. And if you guys have paid attention in the past, it's kind of a direct correlation between the two. You'll find a lot of players that go boom in their contract year just in order to get that money. All these guys are no different. Go out and target them. Keep your fingers crossed and hope they show out. Really appreciate you guys' support. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, subscribing. Looking forward to hearing from you. If there's somebody else you want to know about, hit me up below. I answer every question and comment on every video, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys. Thanks. We'll talk to you later.